Welcome to Qualified Nonsense. Yeah, turn the lights down low and let the vibe find you. 3 souls, 1 frequency, no rules. We talk love, desire, confusion, the things you say out loud and the things you don't. Questions get asked, answers get felt, and somewhere in between, we lose the script completely.
Ooh.
It's smooth, it's wild, it's a little dangerous. But if you're looking for polished answers, you might be in the wrong room. But if you hear for truth, rhythm, and a touch of beautiful chaos, come closer. Don't think too hard. Just press play. This ain't advice. This is qualified nonsense. I'm Matt.
I'm Jake.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is qualified nonsense.
Nice. I liked all that's going to go nicely on YouTube. All of those. Yeah. All the gestures.
If the listeners haven't found out yet, we're recording on the day Prince died. And as you can see, he's very important to me. It's going to be dated at this point, but whatever. Telltale sign.
Whatever.
Look up when he died. Welcome. Brandon, we have a guest tonight.
Yes, yeah, joining us, we have Ryan Richardson with us. He is, among other things, my sister's fiance, so future brother-in-law.
Ooh.
He has worked many different interesting jobs, originally from California. Yeah, I know, we'll probably dive into some of those things, but Ryan, thank you for joining us. And you want to give us a little brief kind of bio on yourself?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I think it's an amazing show. As you said, I'm originally from Southern California, LA area, born and raised, and made my way up here. Been up here in Portland, Oregon for the last 8 years, going on 9 now. So this is home now. I still go back and visit family, and one of my daughters just moved up here to Washington, so cut my commute time in half, or more than half, to go see her nowadays. So that's really good. Yeah, growing up, SoCal kid, rode skateboards and bicycles, went to the beaches, and then loved the ocean and found my way into the Navy after I graduated high school. And
Wow.
I went to the recruiter. Actually, I was going to be a Marine. They were closed that day, so that was kind of funny. All my buddies went to be a Marine, went to go check out the Navy. I just wanted to be around the ocean. And
Wait, it came down to the fact that one of the offices was closed?
yeah, the Marine
That's
guy,
wild.
The Navy guy was standing outside. Goes, "Why don't you just come check us out? They'll be back maybe tomorrow or something." I'm like, "All right." I took the little ASVAB test, and they said, "Man, you can qualify for almost anything you want." And I said, "Hey, I just don't want to be on a submarine. I don't want to be a cook, and I would prefer to be on the West Coast." And then I went to go do my physical and everything. They said, "Hey, uh, we have a really cool position. You could be a cook on a submarine." I said, "I don't want to do that." And they said, "Well, what if we give you $30,000? Does that sound good?" And I'm like, "Damn, okay." I said,
All right.
"I guess I'm gonna be a cook on a submarine."
What so what
Oh my
what is it
God.
about submarines that you didn't want to be on? I think I could take a guess, but I'm just curious.
Just the thought of being in something underwater is scary. You know what I mean? It's I wanted to see the top of the ocean. I just want to be like,
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I get to work in a ship and just be like on a cruise all the time. But I know even if you're on a surface ship, you don't get to go just on the outside and sit outside and just chill and look at the ocean. It would be nice if you could, but that's not the case. But yeah, that just scared me a little bit. But you know what? It was the best thing that ever happened to me. If I had any recommendation from anyone going to the Navy, if they can qualify to go on a submarine, it's the best service because you find the best camaraderie. It's a tight knit unit, and it's actually a lot bigger than you think. It's a huge submarine.
I would assume that it's very tight knit. But yeah, but you're saying that they're roomier than they sort of appear to be from the outside or from, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
like, I'm trying to think of like popular media that has sort of depicted submarines.
Hunt for Red October.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking of like the classics and like the U571 or it feels so claustrophobic. But are they big? Were you on maybe you can't say, but were you on a nuclear submarine?
Yeah, I was on a LA class fast attack submarine, the USS Chicago. It's decommissioned now. And then at the other time, you had a boomer. So the Hunt for Red October was based on a boomer submarine, which is a lot bigger than even a fast attack. It goes out for longer periods of time. It kind of shows it has longer distance weapons on it, that sort of thing. The LA class is like a sports car of submarines that can maneuver, go faster, and whip around a little bit. Now there's a whole other generations of submarines that are just completely different.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't they all nuclear? Like nuclear powered?
Now they are, yes. They're all nuclear powered. The diesel submarine is long gone. You do have a backup diesel motor, at least on. I don't know about the new technology. I can't really speak to that. I haven't been on one of those, but the LA class you have your nuclear reactor, of course, but you also had diesel and motor for secondary power as well.
So on your size, go ahead.
I was going to ask how many guys were on the submarine with you.
It can max out at 140 on a fast attack. We never saw that. Very rare.
God damn, that's a lot of people underwater.
Yeah, that's tight. That is people hot racking. That's a lot of people. Normally it's I think somewhere between 90 and 110, and that's even a lot of people. And the longest I ever went out was for about 45 days straight. We were out. That's maximizing your food capacity to the brim and walking on cans and then staying out that. By the end of that 45 days, you have barely anything. You're eating out of cans, basically.
And you never saw the light of day for 45 days?
Nope. It's kind of weird, though. You kind of know when it's daylight because they have the lights on. They can control the oxygen levels, right? So they can boost up oxygen when they want us to be awake, and if they want us to be quiet and go to sleep, they can lower it down a little bit.
That's wild.
Yeah, we can
didn't even think about that.
You can make your own water on there. The only thing you can't do is make your own food. Food is the only thing keeps you from staying out forever.
So, were you in the submarine during peacetime?
Yeah, it was peacetime, but there was, during the late 80s and part of the 90s, there was a thing called the Cold War. But we weren't really that heavy into that, but there was still, a little tension. We had an incident where we had to go. We were the only fast attack in the area and had to go escort someone out of our waters that wasn't supposed to be there. And
how do you escort when you're supposed to be unseen?
Well, we made it known we're there by
you become seen
by doing an open sonar, right? You ping them, like we know you're here, and here we are, and now we're here. So we ping them, and if they engage, well then that's a whole nother animal. But during that time, that never happened. No one wants an international incident during that time.
Yeah, was it another submarine or was it a boat?
Oh, it was a submarine.
Oh God, this is just.
It makes me claustrophobic. So this weekend, I took my kids to the Titanic exhibit that's at the museum at OMSI, and outside of OMSI, there's a decommissioned sub that you can tour. And I was showing it to my kids as we were early and we were walking around outside. It's like even looking at it just made me it made me claustrophobic. Like it just made me so apprehensive and kind of like on edge.
Did you go in it?
No, I mean I went in it as a kid. But I don't necessarily remember everything about it. But
that's
it's
a small sub, if I remember correctly, right?
It is. It's a small sub. That's a Nautilus class. So that was the class right before the LA class. I believe it was a Nautilus. I haven't been in there yet, but I always want to know what it smells like because submarines have a distinct smell inside. They scrub the air with this thing called amines, and it just stinks. Like I'd get out after 1 week, 2 weeks, and your clothes are just disgusting. Like leave the laundry outside the door and do your laundry outside, basically.
Wait, and what was it that they were putting in the air?
Just cleaning the air. It's the filterization.
I see.
Yeah, but every submarine has it. So unless they've changed it over the new technology, but the old technology and up to that one, I wonder if it's still in that. If I went in that submarine, I would smell it right out. It's something you never forget.
I haven't been on that one in a number of years, but I do remember it smelling like very musty kind of, and I don't know.
They can't make it smell like a Vegas hotel and casino. Like they can't pump. Like, oh, this smells like the Bellagio.
Right? There's you know what? during when I was stationed in Hawaii, and we would have this thing, it was big, huge war games with a bunch of different countries called I think it was called Pac West, and I got to go on some other foreign submarines, and I'll tell you, man, like Australia and Chile, they have not the best technology, but I would eat off the floor of their submarines. They were that cool. They were pretty interesting.
Wow.
Australians were cool. They said, "You want a beer?" They get 2 beers a day on their submarine. I was like, "Dang, I wish they could do that."
I mean,
Well, that's like, I
you
mean,
gotta
all the
pass the
old,
time.
yeah, like back in, 1700s or whatever. Yeah, you got like a liter of
Beer
rum or
ration.
whatever a week, as your
The
ration.
good old days.
Pack
We
of
had
smokes a week,
it's
smoking
for
on
the
a
most part,
submarine.
right? People do. People in the back, yeah, they smoke. There's smoke pits in the submarine in the back
Is
near the
there?
nuclear plant. Yeah, 100%.
This is
100%.
why I don't want to be on one. Somebody would abuse that.
And, and there's 10 feet away is like a little gym they put on there. It's not much of a gym, but and there's not much room on a submarine for that. But
Here, I
we
guess.
had.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I was about to say, for the most part, submarine being under. I remember the first time me going down, I was really nervous, but after that, it was like it's like being on an airplane. It's very smooth,
Yeah.
unless you're on top of the water, and then it's like a big old barrel. You get tossed and turned left and right if it's in rough seas. We did have one event though that's pretty scary. We could have died very easily. It was a scary event. I was one of the only cooks on a submarine to learn how to be on what's called the planes that drive and dive the submarine. So what I did in this particular case, I was on what the helm, which no, I was on the planes. I'm sorry. The planes control the up and down movement. Those big wings you see that controls the wings. The helms goes left and right. So I was on the planes. We were just out of dry dock, and we were doing all these qualifications to get recertified to be seaworthy, which is kind of ironic 'cause we were already at sea during this time. But one of them was we had to simulate that the hydraulic system was out, and we had to sink the submarine. In order to sink the submarine, there's a forward and aft ballast tank, and they have to open these hydraulic valves controlled by 10,000 pounds of air. It equally allows water to come in both ballast tanks. You sink gently, right? Hydraulics are out. They have to be opened by hand. The chief of the watch gave the order to do so, and the guy in the front opened his, and the guy in the back didn't hear the command and didn't open his. So basically, we just went straight down.
Yeah.
And
Oh my gosh.
I'm on the planes holding it like it looks like an airplane controller basically, and I have it pinned against my chest. Someone holding me to keep it. It's how much pressure was going down, and all I see is the depth gauge going 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000,
Holy
1,100.
shit, dude.
We caught it at 1150, and from hearing after this event, the bottom was 1350. So we were almost at
So
the
you
bottom.
almost just hit the ground. Holy shit, dude. So
That was
I saw a
Wait, what happened to the guy at the back? Did he get like dishonorably discharged or
no, there
punched
was
in the
obviously
face?
something like that happens, you got to call it in to the big higher ups on the Pacific Coast Command, and we were ordered to come back immediately. Normally, in this case, I mean, captains, executive officers, everyone gets fired, because of this happening. But we didn't hit nothing technically, so no one got fired in this case. But there was a big, huge investigation of what happened. He didn't get in trouble. I mean, he didn't get in trouble because he didn't hear the command, but I mean, he got ripped on pretty hard. I
yeah.
mean, you're talking about 100 guys, almost made a bunch of widows and made a bunch of just it would have been bad because at that depth there's no saving us.
Yeah, you
You're at
just
the
leave them down
bottom,
there. Yeah.
unless you have another submarine that's going to come and sit on top of us and take us out the hatch. And by that time, they're from to find us. There's just no way that would happen.
Oh my god.
That was the scariest moment. I still have to this day. I have issues like when my car loses control a little bit, like in a hydroplane or
Yeah.
turbulence in an airplane. I get super anxiety because of.
Oof. I saw something about the the tremendous pressure differential too when there's like a big pitch in submarines, because like I don't think about it, but like the mass that you're dealing with, like the difference in water pressure between the front of the craft and the stern of the craft is significant, and that can cause problems too. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, technically, below 1,000 is crush depth, right?
Right.
So obviously, our technology on submarines is super elite. So we were able to withstand it, obviously. But I mean, you remember that submarine that went to go down to the Titanic that exploded, right? They were using subpar stuff, and that's why it imploded at
Yeah.
that depth. They just couldn't handle that pressure. I remember that happened. People were asking me, "What do you think? Do you think they're alive?" I'm like, "No way. They died
No
instantly."
way.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that
So
drives a submarine that far with a PlayStation controller, I mean, I'm not surprised by anything that happens to you.
no, it's not surprised at all. And then hearing what kind of material they use, and it's no wonder I heard they're being sued. Yeah, super crazy.
Well, I guess a lighter question. Did you ever hear whales while you were under there?
Yeah, did you ever hit a whale?
Oh, we never have, but there you go on there people have. I
Really?
remember a sub pulling in. He had there was some sort of fish on the mast that they hit underwater. There's been if you Google submarine hit mountain, there's actually pictures of the front end of a submarine just destroyed. They hit a mountain, down there. But to answer your question, have I ever heard whales? Yeah. So as a cook on a submarine, we had on the lowest level a ballast tank full of our cans. So I would go down there, and it was in the berthing area. So I would just go down there late at night, quiet, and just sit on the cans and listen. And you could hear the sea life down there, which was pretty cool. You
Yeah,
could
that sounds
always
cool.
go up to the sonar department and ask them, say, can you give me an open mic and just let me hear the thing. They would do if there was nothing going on. They would let you do that as well. So very beautiful sound in the ocean and hearing whales and all the sea life down there. It's pretty cool.
Do they have cameras that can capture that stuff too? Or like do they operate at that level or that depth?
We had no cameras on our submarine for that. New technology, who knows? I'm sure they do. I'm sure there's camera systems that can work that low. I mean, people could take unmanned submarines with cameras, and that's how you get those Titanic views nowadays. So I'm sure there's some technology out there,
Yeah,
but
they've gone down to like sent cameras to the Marianas Trench and stuff like that. So
yeah, the only cameras we had is our periscope, and we had to be 150 feet, you know, underneath the water to see what's going on with that.
It'd be wild to see. I just watched a nature show with my kids, and we learned that sperm whales sleep vertically, and they only sleep 15 minutes at a time. So it's like they call them the skyscrapers in the ocean, because they are like that tall. And I can only imagine a submarine coming through and just like donking a sperm,
Excuse me, excuse
a
me, excuse
sperm
me.
whale that sleeps vertically.
I'm actually surprised it doesn't happen more. Honestly, like they don't know what's coming. Like just all of a sudden, this thing's going 30 knots, it's in the ocean, and
Yeah, that's a good point.
why
do you
not hit
know?
it?
I mean, maybe not now, or maybe you do know, but like how many submarines were there just out in the water cruising around, like U.S. submarines at any given time?
I used to know this number back when I was in. I mean, we used to have hundreds of submarines, but not all were out at the same time. We would roll around on the West Coast. I mean, just in Hawaii alone, there was, if I remember right, 15 or 20 subs, and they could
Wow.
be three, four. Some are doing farther. They're some are
Yeah.
doing farther. You know, orders. Go overseas more. Some are going to Hawaii. Going back to San Diego. Some are in Guam. They're all they at that time they're all over the place. But we were
Yeah.
never close enough like we're gonna be running into each other or anything like that. Nothing like that. We just the biggest problem is fishing boats with their nets out. You can't see them. I've heard stories where in foreign countries fishing boats have been sunk. You know, on our periscope. And stuff like that. So
Hmm.
some crazy stories that have happened. In the history of submarines.
But it's never them sinking you. Your technology is so great that it takes them down.
The last U.S. submarine to go to sink and never be found again, I believe, was the Pressure in 1967, 1969, I think. Same thing as us, though. They were doing out of dry dock, doing their qualifications, and
Same
there,
thing.
they were doing emergency blow this one, and something failed, and or there was something. Maybe they weren't doing emergency. They were when they were doing emergency blow because something was seriously going wrong with the submarine, and there was actually video of it, and you could see them about to break the water, and they just kind of like you see the shadow of it, and then just they're gone.
Wild.
That's spooky.
Pretty spooky.
And you were so you operated as a chef, like, and you sort of already talked about it, but I would imagine budgeting for those longer excursions, like like food planning. I bet that was pretty challenging.
Oh yeah, I mean, at the time I was in E5, I was just mostly doing some cooking, mostly doing cooking and doing some starting to learn about a lot of that, but we had a good budget on a submarine. We ate well. That's one of the
Yeah.
perks of being a submarine. Our budgeting per person was a lot better per day than, let's say, a surface ship, right? And so every midnight on Friday nights or on Saturday nights, we were making handmade pizzas. We on Saturday day was prime rib. Once a quarter was prime rib and lobster tail, and
Let's
then
go.
yeah, we were eating good. I mean, no one was complaining about the food in terms of that. We had, at the time, we had two of my guys that were above me, my, petty officers, first classes. They both served underneath the president, yeah, at the White House and at Camp David. And that used to be a big thing where only U.S. submarine cooks would go, naval cooks would cook for the president. So it's changed now. There's
Huh.
plenty of cooks, but learned a lot from those guys and really shot me off on my way of how to prepare. And we were doing before they got on, we were doing more basic stuff, and they said, "Man, we're scrapping all that. We're doing everything scratch." They were
Nice.
pretty amazing to learn from, yeah. And as for the budgeting, I mean, there were some days where hey, we're doing ground beef dishes, stroganoffs and chilies
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but we ate pretty well still all the way through.
Was there like enough that if somebody wanted seconds, they could have seconds, or was it pretty
Oh yeah.
limited?
The rule was once we got through everyone coming on to, because the way it works when you're at a sea, the people are going to eat first, the people that have to go relieve the people that are already working, right? So like the engineers, the people that are driving the submarine, all the people on watch, they got to go relieve them. So they eat first, and then the people that come back off of watch, as soon as they get their dishes, we can start serving seconds. But we've always had plenty. We always account for, if we knew there was 80 people on board, we cooked for like 120 people. So we always had extras. That was never an issue, unless it was just like an absolute great dinner, in terms of like everyone loved it and we knew it'd be one that people would be wanting a bunch for. We cooked more. We didn't anticipate it.
Nice.
What'd
So
y'all
if
do
you're-
with garbage?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that. Like
That
for
was
45 days.
I was going to ask about the whole bathroom thing. And also, Jake, they're called missions, not excursions. It's not a cruise ship.
I mean, I don't know. It sounds like they were more like excursions because there's lobster involved. Come on.
That's
You
just once
get
a quarter.
$40,000 instead of
Yeah,
having to
okay.
pay that to go.
Yeah, right. Trash. You have to separate the trash first of all. You just can't throw any trash. We have someone would have to do that, separate all the trash and everything that can be safe to go out in the ocean would be shot like a torpedo outside.
Hell
And,
yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Prime
it
rib
would
and
have,
live.
yeah, it would have weight, so it would sink to the bottom. But that was that. You're 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 just like any cruise ship out there, any kind of ship that sits on the ocean. Your urinals and toilets get shot out. You know, once I don't know how often they did it, but they would shoot it out. But it had a rule though. You had to be at least 100 miles off of shore to do any
Well,
of
thank
that.
God.
That makes sense.
Yeah, 100 miles out. They have an answer for everything. Oxygen. We lose that. We have oxygen candles to burn. We have everything to keep it going, keep the mission going all the time.
Yeah. That's
So you
pretty
can't
wild.
fill up the toilets until you're too far out. Everybody has to hold it till they're 100 miles out at sea.
Exactly. That's thing. it'd probably be a huge investigation if we shot it within. Then all of a sudden, like, got debris and poop, waste floating to the ocean. Especially in Hawaii, can you imagine? But they take their
Yeah.
they take their reefs and their turtles seriously out there.
Very
People get
serious.
arrested out there if you mess with a turtle.
I've seen people get their asses kicked for feeding frozen peas off the reef just to try to see sea life. They take that serious.
When I was stationed in Hawaii, there was a big news report that this guy was he was out there and he was trying to sneak a giant sea turtle in his car because the black market for those are huge, right? People were calling, 911 came. I think that guy, it's a huge prison sentence. I mean, he might as well have been accused of triple homicide murder just for one steal. Yeah, very interesting out there.
So imagine dumping your tanks that close to.
Oh, it'd be a nightmare. It'd be a nightmare.
So if there was 100 people, 90 people, what do 90 people do on a submarine? Like just cliff notes. I know there's a lot to cover there, but
well, you're on shift most likely.
Separating trash.
12 hours, depending on what your job is, right? I did 12-hour shifts, so basically, I was on duty and I'd go to sleep, and then we would do what's called drills, right? So we have to simulate fires. We have to simulate any kind of scenario that could possibly happen. We simulated it, and we did it often because we just practice for these events. Other than that, every night was game night, so a lot of spades, a lot of hearts, a lot of checkers and chess, all those things. But we always got during that time 8mm movies, and whenever they were out in theaters, we got them in 8mm. So we got them fresh. So we would always get, if they were done, if we were out for a long time, we would get the helicopter over, we'd get our mail, and we would get new movies, and we'd watch all the new movies before most people would. So that was always a big thing. Yeah. So popcorn every night, was being popped and that sort of thing. There was some gym, but most of the time people just read in their book, read books and magazines and just try to stay busy. Worked out a little bit if they could without making too much noise.
Your audio just did something funky.
There we go.
Oh, good.
There, you're good.
Are you there?
All right. Yeah, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
we got you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I know we've been talking about submarines a lot. I got one more question. Is you said when you surface, people kind of get knocked around a lot because it's just a floating tube. Did people ever struggle with seasickness going under, or like did their depth perception, vertigo kind of thing ever kick in?
I didn't hear too much. I'm sure someone had to have had some sort of issues, but most of the time, the only time I ever came close to being sick was when we were on top, especially going into San Francisco. The waters are so rough. I mean, I was being thrown around left and right. Those waters are seriously rough. Usually off the coast of Hawaii, it's super smooth and quiet, so it's not too bad. Man, some areas you're just like a big old whiskey barrel just being tossed from side to side. It's pretty crazy in terms of that. Going up when you're first surfacing, depending how we're doing, we do something fun like emergency blow, where they just basically throw a bunch of high pressure air into those ballast tanks we talked about, and then you're just shooting right up to the top. And you see those videos where they catch air and they kind of slam down the ocean a little bit. Those are always fun because you're just like angled, and it's just like you don't even have to hold on to anything. You just lean forward like you're a skier, and just all that pressure just keeps you upright. It's hilarious. It's pretty fun.
That would just be weird though to not see where you're going. Like, let's fucking go. Did it look cool?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess one of the most beautiful things I ever got to see is when you do surface, though, someone's always up in the that tower. It's called a conning tower, right? And you got someone with binoculars doing circling around, checking to make sure that there's no contacts coming. Then you have someone directing the ship from up there, and I got to go up there a couple times while they were up there, and it's so beautiful, man. It's one thing to be because you're kind of a low profile vehicle in the water, right? So you're like pretty level. And some submarines, I didn't get to do this, but they would go and do some swimming off the coast there. But I never got to go do that. I wish I could. That's when the rifles come out to make sure no sharks.
Yeah.
Brandon would love that.
Right? Go to South Africa and get into great white tank diving cages and go watch some great whites down there.
Yeah, do that, Brandon.
That'd be a good time.
Ryan, so you were in the Navy for a while. What do you do now?
I drive for TriMet, local bus here
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
in
cool.
New Orleans. So yeah, I go from one danger to another danger on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I spent
On
years prior to that.
another tin can to another.
Right, right. It's been fun. I got tired of being in sales. I was a finance manager at a Harley dealership for 5 years prior to me coming to TriMet. TriMet's been a blast, stress free for the most part, but dealing with the public is pretty fun.
Yeah, I
I'm one of
bet.
those guys who like to invite the crazy, as I call it. You know, one of the favorite runs is the 72 line, which goes on 82nd Street, and they used to
Boy.
call it the Jerry Springer route. I remember when I first started Friday nights, late at night, oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah, you get some wild ones, I bet.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I just recently we just had an incident up here, and I'm a mentor now for newer drivers, and I have a new mentee, and I talked to him on Monday, and he was getting it. He's gonna have his first day, and then he was gonna be off for a couple of days, and then he was gonna go back. So his second day on the job, he got held up by a knife by someone, and trying to do a whole like Keanu Reeves and what's her name, that movie back in the '90s.
Speed? Yeah.
Speed, go run that red light. He's like, I'm not running that red light. And luckily,
Yeah.
we have some ways of contacting dispatch, and we have emergency buttons, and they were able to call the police and get them out of there. But all safe. But
Yikes.
sometimes we have some interesting stuff that's happened over the years. I've heard some crazy stories in the past of TriMet. Luckily for me, nothing has really been that serious
Oh, that's good.
in terms of that. I think because my stature, maybe that's, if they feel they can take advantage of it, they will. But half the time, they don't care. Just get on the bus. Let's go.
You ever
I was
have to
telling
kick anybody off?
What's that?
You ever have to kick anyone off?
Um, yeah, I've kicked off people before. I said you're being loud, obnoxious, and you got to go. Just last 2 weeks ago, this guy got on ripping obscenity. He flipped me off before I even came to the stop. I'm like, great, I'm already in for it. And then he started cussing at some customers. And before he got on, I put up my hand like, you're not getting on. And he started going off. I said, take your foot off. I started shutting the door. And he didn't. I called dispatch, let him know there's some crazy guy. But the next day, he was there again. And he was the nicest guy. A veteran. He was on something and lost his mind
He was,
that day. And
yeah.
he treated me with the utmost respect the second day. So just because you have a rough one day, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt the next. We do deal with a lot of people with mental illness and other
Sure.
Yeah.
stuff, especially in downtown. When you're going through the bus mall and down Old Town and stuff like that.
It's gotta feel pretty vulnerable. We have a friend of the family who drove light rail for TriMet for his career, and I was telling Brandon when we were in New Orleans, his name is Kerry. He's long since retired, but he used to put because they all wear the white gloves to drive the light rail. He would have a giant Mickey hand, and if he saw kids at the stop, he would wave at them in the window. But the benefit that they have is they're in a locked room, right? Kind of, it must feel as a bus driver, do you ever feel pretty vulnerable or uneasy with being so exposed to people? Because you don't have that like protection layer.
We do have one little bit of protection there. We have this window since COVID. They had a barrier put in place. You could slide it pretty far forward, and it kind of gives you some protection. I slide mine all the way back. I like talking to people. All those years of sales, I just can't keep my mouth shut. So I like talking to people and wish them, hope they have a good day. And no matter good or bad, I'll take it, type of situation. So I don't feel I'm ever vulnerable. I feel like I'm in control. I always think if something happens, what are my outs? I'm always constantly thinking of that. I've only had one situation where a guy got on and I kind of got spooky. Like, man, this guy's different. This guy's acting different. I've dealt with crazy. This guy was another level. This guy was like Charlie Manson crazy, just
Mm.
a little bit different in terms of things. I that was the only time I ever had a little bit of uneasiness for the most part. But I've been offered to go to rail before, and I just I don't see myself being locked in a cage like that. Now they got some stories too. It's
He
not when you
did,
hit something.
yeah.
not if, it's when you hit somebody. It's like that kind of a deal on rail. It's unfortunate. People run out and do some crazy things.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
And
had
there's not
that
a
in
lot you
the.
can do with that, right? Like you just have, because like you've got a bunch of passengers, you can't like slam on the brakes. You just sort of go,
They do
Yeah.
have
you
one though,
try to slow down.
and Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, but he called it the mushroom brake back in the day, and it was like this caliper that if you needed it, it would just like emergency grip around, and it would stop.
I don't know a whole bunch about the rail system, but that sounds about right. That probably sounds like something that could happen pretty quick. I'm sure they can make those happen really fast. I mean, same on a bus, we can make it stop pretty. Those buses, there's some pretty cool buses, especially the new electric buses out there. They're quick and they brake fast without even hitting the brake. You just let off the gas and they just honestly just brake on
I
themselves.
guess
It's
that's
pretty.
like a defense system for you too. Do you think about that, where you could like slam on the gas or slam on the brakes as needed, knock the person down or whatever if they're
Just watch him in the back. Come on,
being
guys!
rowdy?
If there was just one person on board, it would probably be okay to do that. But there's other people on board, so you got to think about everyone's safety in
Yeah.
general, and not just his. Knocking people over is a big thing. People don't like it when they get knocked over. It's not fun,
Well, I
Sometimes it
meant I
happens.
meant like if there was a situation and like like you were being held at knife point or gun point or whatever, could you like just hit the
We,
brakes
we
and
go through
have
we
them
go through
trip or
some pretty
something?
good. Yeah, we go through some pretty big de-escalation training to like calm things down, try to get
Yeah, I
out of it.
bet.
TriMet's
I
insurance
feel like
policy loves it when they come back saying, "Oh, he stepped on the brake too hard, my neck hurts."
yeah.
It'd probably end up in today's day and age if you did that too. They'd probably sue TriMet, even though they were in the wrong.
I do imagine like the Max probably does get a little bit more wild than a bus, because like anybody can get on a Max. Like you don't have to show your fare or anything. With the bus, there's the driver at least is kind of a barrier.
That's true. We do have some nowadays, some more patrol on board, and on the. But you're right. The TriMet, the train, it can be wild. I can only imagine a Friday or Saturday night, just randomly at 11 to 1 o'clock in the morning, what that would look like. It'd probably be chaotic at times, I'm sure, and scary with all the people
Mhm.
that get on and off.
Yeah.
Well,
Drunk or
especially
not drunk.
like right by if you're like right by the Rose Garden or Moda Center, whatever it's called now, and there's an
Yeah,
event.
we have a lot of supervisors, and we have a lot of security in that area and around Gateway. So I'm actually it's a lot safer than it's ever been. I'm sure there's still
Nice.
some instances that happen, but I have no problem taking the rail or taking the bus anywhere. I think I love Portland. I love the city of Portland. I think it's not as scary as people they make it out to be. That's for sure.
100%.
Just go hang out in LA if you think Portland's scary.
Yeah, right.
This is Disneyland compared to it.
Do we want to take a little bit of a break and get into some questions?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We do questions on this show. I forgot. I was having a good time bullshitting. Yeah. Let's do it.
All right, we'll be right back. And welcome back. Feel free to drop us a line at qualifiednonsense@gmail.com or connect with us on our socials or find us over on our Discord server. If you or someone you know would make a great guest on a future episode of Qualified Nonsense, like Ryan here, please let us know. Now's the time on the show where we take on Reddit's most pressing queries by finding the top trending questions and answering them here. This question comes to us from the No Stupid Questions subreddit, username Chronicles of Sarnia. They ask, why don't more older people go on crazy ass benders before they kick the bucket? I mean, let's say you're 87 years old and happen to have amassed hundreds of thousands of dollars. Are there not that many people who reach that point and say, fuck it, I should have been dead by now 3 times over. Time for some alcohol, hookers, blow, fast cars, 24/7 bong hits in the hot tub. I'm going out on a high note.
I wanna be your friend. First of all, whoever you are,
Yeah, whoever you are.
please send us a message because I want to first of all know how old you are, and if you're contemplating this, I want to be involved. But I 100% agree with this. Like you've
The whole
lived
can't take it with you thing.
Yeah, it's like, all right, so right, I don't know how old you are, but we're, like we're actually, according to men's general age, we're more than halfway done. Full send. Just go.
I'm 52, and yeah, I feel like that midlife crisis is legit, and that's a senior
Yeah.
crisis at that age.
Did you have a
Nice.
midlife, Ryan, that you want to declare or talk about?
So I'm still,
Hell yeah.
I'm
Let's
still
go.
with it. I,
Brandon, you're in for a
my,
treat.
yeah, my midlife. I mean, I'm still on motorcycles. I ride motorcycles. I've gone 100 miles an hour. Things, ride bar to motorcycle friends. I've, in my midlife crisis, been on a small amount of bender fun. That sort of thing, drinking and
Sure.
having a blast, and probably doing things, riding a motorcycle I probably shouldn't have done at that time. But
Yeah.
lately, it's more of like, oh, I've been thinking about buying a bike and getting back to smiling from my
Oh
childhood.
shit. Yeah.
Doing something. I was on the bus the other day and I saw a guy probably a little older than me. That's rad. I want to do that.
See?
Hell
I
yeah.
can do it.
Set a
That's
goal for
awesome.
myself. I set a goal for myself this year. I'm gonna do open mic comedy. I want to do that before. That's good. That's a
Nice.
do that.
Yeah,
Yo, I like
Brandon has
that.
done that. And if
Yeah.
anybody knows Brandon like all of us do, that's a big feat for a
Yeah, that's not
relatively
nothing.
shy introvert like you.
Well, I mean, there's a reason I don't do it anymore.
I'm kind of with you
I think
though,
you
Ryan.
should.
Like, we talked on the podcast a little while ago about how like I see things and it's not like I know I'm getting older and at a certain point I know my body's gonna fail. But like right now I just feel like why shouldn't I be able to? So like last year I bought rollerblades and I got back on rollerblades. I was like, there's no real reason a 40-year-old should probably if you're not a
There's
hockey
every
player
reason.
or it's like
Every reason.
I'm gonna do it. And I didn't wear a helmet, and I had one of those like whoop 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 whoop, like you're going backwards moment, and
Jesus.
I caught myself. I didn't fall, but I was like, oh. And then the next day you wake up and you're like, oh, did I think I broke a rib. It's like, no, you just don't use
Yeah.
those muscles, Matt.
I dislocated my shoulder walking. I can't imagine what rollerblades would do.
But we're talking about benders, and we talked about the monsoon, the Port of Call monsoon. It was it was a
Some
fun
other
trip.
I heard this on some other comedy podcast, but people were talking about at what age does it switch from I fell over to I had a fall? And I feel like we're approaching the I had a fall.
Oh, I mean, it's
Oh, it hurts so bad.
I've seen a
Brian,
bunch of.
I've
Go ahead.
got two kids that love soccer, and we play soccer out in the front yard. And just this last birthday, I got a pair of cleats so I could keep up with them because they like get their cleats on and they want to play. And first of all, running around in cleats is not
That's for the
easy.
birds.
It's yeah, and like I'm 220 pounds, so like when I try to stop, like when my feet stop, my body just takes so much longer to stop. And anyway, it's just a mess. But like as far as like Matt, you were saying like parts of your body stop working. Like I've got all kinds of shit happening with my legs. And it's like, hey, what did you think you could just pick up and start playing soccer aggressively after not for 30 years?
Jake has to put on the light rail mushroom brake to stop.
Yeah, no shit.
about a month ago. I went to go see my grandson, and we were on the playground, and I was climbing up and going down.
Yeah. I mean, good for you though. Good for you getting out there. That's awesome.
I think there's always the inherent benefit of staying moving. Like my dad is he'll be 70 in June, and he worked a physical job as a groundskeeper for Reynolds School District, and he was always on his knees digging trenches and irrigation and all that. And when he retired, he decided to get a job polishing the semi truck wheels that were, what do you call them, logging trucks. And he still helped out with very involved in drag racing and helped out with any team that needed it. But like my dad can still go out and do these things. And I know and I've seen other 70-year-olds that like when you stop moving, you definitely seize up a bit. And so I think there is some inherent benefit to just like continuing that ability to just continue. Because like, for example, I started swimming again And the very first couple weeks, I was like, man, all I'm doing is swimming. That's all. And it's like, yeah, that hurts. But now it doesn't hurt as much. So I think, like, Ryan, for you, I mean, you work a physically demanding job where you, I mean, yeah, you're driving, but you have to get up and get down and do all that. You should get a BMX bike.
Yeah, absolutely. A BMX bike, and then also like for me, especially this last 6, 7 months, walking, and it's my newfound like happiness too. Just I used to always struggle keeping up my fiance. She would just kick my, walking up these hills and stuff. Now, I'm right there with her. It helps a
Nice.
lot. I had inspiration just once again on the bus, watching jump on and off my bus, like no problem. I'm like, how old are you? And they're like, I'm 80 something. They said, just keep walking, stay loose, stay movement.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like as you get older, I think it's more important that you see a lot of like 70-year-old guys like trying to get jacked or whatever. I do think like it's more important that you're able to just move yourself from one room to another or down the street or through a parking lot or whatever the case may be. And so I do think, yeah, like that, like just being able to be ambulatory and walking distance or going up a flight of stairs is a lot more important than being able to like deadlift, like fireman carry a person out of a burning building or whatever, as you get
I'm,
older.
I'm gonna say too, like me, something I started taking a supplement that helped me tremendously. And I always say to all men now, any friend, anybody I can get their ear on is, hey, go get your testosterone tested. And if it's anything below 300, you're on testosterone therapy, replacement therapy. And that it helps me recover, it helps my energy levels up, and uh,
Interesting.
now my level is at 190 now of free testosterone. Now I'm around 800, and our great grandfathers were running around in their 60s at 800. So uh, that's a big thing, especially as you get older into your 40s.
If you don't mind me asking, is that
This
an
sounds like an
injection
ad.
or if you don't mind me asking, is it an injection or a pill?
Cream, and you can do an injection. I choose injection.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
Hmm.
Nice.
How did you find that?
I heard. Well, I've always heard about testosterone. I'm a jack of all trades guy, so one I know this is kind of weird, but
That's so fucking badass.
yeah, I'm actually on YouTube where I have a few of my matches. I got my butt kicked often, but there were some guys like some OG arm wrestlers that have been doing it for a long time, and I know they do testosterone therapy for sure.
Oh,
And
okay.
they don't do it to stay jacked. They're one of the best arm wrestlers in the United States ever to be found. He's probably in his
Wait, are you talking about
The
that
guy
guy
with the like
that
comically huge hands and arms.
um he was you ever seen the movie Pulling John?
uh-uh.
His name, I forget his name off the top of I'm if I don't say it, Bresnik or something like that. He was a plane mechanic, and he's still arm wrestlers if he was still competitive. But these guys are super jacked and super.
There's only one arm
I'm
wrestling
thinking of
movie I've
Jeff
ever seen, and it's
Dabney.
Over the Top.
Over the top.
Yeah, he's in that movie too. He's
Is
in
he?
that movie. Yeah, he's not a main character, but he's in that movie. Pretty funny. That's a pretty old school Sylvester Stallone movie. A lot of people
Yeah.
love. But go look up Pulling John. He's the main character that they're documenting about it, and it's a cool little documentary from the '90s, early 2000s. But
Nice.
yeah,
Huh.
that's how I first learned about it. And then I had a friend who was working at the men's clinic.
Well, we're talking about like staying fit and active and getting your testosterone straight and all that. But the question is about like why don't you just go on a bender when you're old? Like why don't you
I
just
think
like,
that is
wreck
That's
your
a good
health,
point.
like rather than improve
that is
your
also
health?
it is a fair question.
That's right. If you want to do the bender right, you have to do some prep, and that's taking care of yourself, eating your vegetables, getting your testosterone checked.
Get your testosterone checked, get them up to speed, so when you go on that bender and you want to fight all the 20-year-olds, you'll be ready. You're prime. Be like, fucking come on.
So you could become
Matt's ready to go.
88-year-old father of a newborn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Just Mick Jagger going around like, hello. I have seen, there's been an overwhelming amount of like memes that have come across my feed of like, make smoking cool again. And it's all like, you need to like, there needs to be at this point where we have seemingly everything under the sun available to us. There should be a developed cigarette that won't give you cancer. And just like, on those days, just fucking a beer or a coffee and a cigarette. Just, yeah.
Just go. Well, what was that George Burns that smoked a every night? He lived. There's some truth to that.
Yeah, not wrong.
Those reels I've heard though are they're trying to make it cool again.
Although I did just see today, British Parliament has now banned any child born after 2008 from smoking. Like as a country, they've stopped. They have just that happened today. I was like, what?
So like
Smoking's
if
so
you
cool.
have 2008 on a driver's license, you can't ever buy cigarettes.
If you're born after 2008, yeah, that's what they're trying to. And that
Interesting.
just happened. I just saw that before we logged on. I was like, what? They'll
Foreign
never
countries,
know.
the people. Sorry about that. Foreign
No.
countries like to take care of their people. I mean, I go to Jamaica every other year with my fiance, and I'm a Diet Coke fiend. You cannot get Diet Coke in Jamaica. Coke Zero is the only thing. Coke they will not give it.
Huh.
As
That's
a
weird.
Coke Zero fiend, I kind of agree with that. But there's just
Damn.
there's
like-
just an
like
inherent
they don't
there's an
sell
inherent
it, or
difference. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, so they don't sell Diet Coke at all? They
They'll call it Diet Coke, but it's Coke Zero.
Those sons of bitches.
Even the Coke Zero tastes a little different too. It's not.
It's
but that's
still,
the only.
it's still made with real sugar. Like, no, they'll be fine. Drink it up, man.
Yeah.
Have your bender, or as Brandon says, get that Coke Diesel or whatever.
Yeah, I cook diesel. I think that there's like if you're not trying to leave a big inheritance to anybody, I think there's, and actually like you don't need to spend all that much to go on a big old bender. But yeah, to each their own. I think that sounds, if you've got the energy to go hard. And I guess the question is sort of like, why don't more people do this? And I do think that it like goes back to what we were talking about, is that like I think most people, once they see themselves in the decrescendo of their lives, they don't necessarily have the energy, not only not the energy, but also like not the desire to spend what little energy they have to do that. Like that doesn't even sound desirable. And I'm hopeful that the people on this call are going to be ready to rock and roll.
I actually do have an example. There's so in Hazeldale, Washington, there's it's sold, and we're waiting for it to reopen to see if it's going to be the same or kind of a mirrored image of what it was. But it's called Fat Dave's, and it was a 24-hour diner, and they had a lounge in the back, which they called adult daycare, and it was full of a bunch of longshoremen, and it maybe had 15, 20 seats at that. And I met so many interesting men in their 80s that were there, and one of them, his name was Dale, and he was there what seemed to be every day, which means that I was there a decent amount of time if I was recognizing that he was there. But I wouldn't say that he was on a bender. He was just living his best life. He had lost his wife a number of years ago, and he was so proud to tell me about his son that was an Olympic photographer and came to be a sports photographer.
That's cool.
But I think they all just like doing it on their terms. And I think like when I get to that point, I'm not going to go on a bender, but I'm going to spend more time at places that bring me joy. And if it's a dive bar, I think that's perfectly fine. And you can call that a bender. But I think there's even more of those people that are in their 80s that are happy to sit in their chair at home and do it that way. Just do whatever makes you happy.
I agree with that. I feel like you never know when it's your time to go, right? I mean, my dad died real young at 55. I almost wonder, like, if he knew he had 5 years ago, what would he have done differently?
Yeah.
I wish you could ask people that. Or there's some people that there was a person at TriMet that passed away unexpectedly. years on the job, wanted to go another 5 years, had I had like 1,000 hours of PTO on the books still of
Jeez.
sick time. Felt sick, never just go. We were trying to bank everything to retirement. Passed away before they even could use it, right? So it's like
Jeez.
you hear stories of people retiring and then just passing away because they don't know what to do with them. I highly agree. Love and just fun. Have life's too short. You're
Yeah.
never too.
Yeah, that's the takeaway. I agree with that.
And I think the older we get, we're going to start finding more and more of those examples as people get sick. When we graduated high school, we had an unfortunate amount of death just kind of surrounding us. It felt like was a more than usual amount. But, it's like, to me, it's one of those perfect example, that guy at TriMet. It's like you work so hard to build up a retirement and you don't even get to use it. So why not live the best of both worlds?
Absolutely, absolutely. It is like have fun, like, be that guy. You know,
Do
Hell
it.
yeah.
That's why you get benefits.
That's the whole reason.
Well, plus like there's
Rollerblades.
cocaine, heroin, they'll numb whatever like back pain and stuff you have. So why not?
Perfect.
It's
Perfect.
medicinal. You're actually just being responsible.
Yeah.
I mean, should we idle?
Yeah, he was
That
a
is-
little bit of a lifetime winner.
He
That's a good
figured
point.
out it's entrepreneurship 101. Figure out what you like doing and figure out a way to make money doing it.
Right.
Exactly. What are some of the answers here?
Yeah, the top one's kind of depressing.
Live fast, die hard.
This person says, you just simply don't have the energy for any of that anymore. My grandma is 86, has worked her whole life, has literally no discs left in her lower spine. Every step she takes is a chore. She's constantly in pain and is happy when she doesn't need to do much. So,
Yeah, so take care of your backs.
yeah, I
That
mean,
woman needs some recreational oxy.
I mean, Brandon, your grandma's
yeah, she's 91. She
Yeah.
still drives. She mows the lawn. She does. Yeah, she's
Good for her.
wants to get on the back of a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Do it.
This person says at 87, a crazy ass bender is having cheese for dinner and trying to stay awake past 7.
Not shitting your pants
Man.
in the middle of the night.
Man, she's crazy. Having cheese.
Yeah.
They should have a bar for anyone over like in their 50s. It should be day drinking only though. Seriously, that bender is a daytime event.
Yeah, there's got to be a sliding scale. Like there's like bender, the definition of bender gets more and more sort of broad or loose.
That's what I think
There
about,
is
like,
as age
there's like
goes on.
all these like old musicians who are touring, like they should be doing shows at like 3 p.m. rather than like at 9 p.m. at night. Like they should. I mean, I would go if they were earlier in the afternoon.
Well, that's because you're already an old man.
Yeah.
You're like, I would go because I need to make sure I get to bed at 8.
There is a company that forget the name of it, but they host raves that start at like 5 p.m. and they end by 9. So, traditionally
that's-
raves don't even start until midnight and beyond. It's like, yes, do that. I will pay adult money for that too. Not $7 I'm 19-year-old money. I do like EDM bands, and I mean, a perfect example. We were supposed to go to an EDM band a couple weeks ago, and I read their first night was in Seattle and their second night was here, and I was like, I'm curious when they took the stage, and they didn't take the stage till 12:15, and I was like, I cannot do this. I cannot do this as much as I want
you're
to.
not a late
It's
night
like,
guy.
I'm going to bed.
And you're like, oh man, I bought these fox ears for nothing.
What do I do with this furry outfit?
Got a pocket full of Molly all to myself. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, a lot of the answers are kind of repetitive. This one, I do have one more question. We've kind of already touched on some of the things, but this one comes from Ask Reddit, username Rule OK Hit. They ask, What is something relatively cheap that improves your life by 100%? And I was thinking back to like Ryan, you were talking about walking. You know, like walking is free, and I think that you've said it's improved your life a lot more just walking.
Yeah,
You know, but
walking. That's right. Yeah, hey, you're right. It's walk outside.
yeah,
Pocket full of Molly.
Yes.
Full of Molly.
I was smoking a cigar last Saturday, walking down the streets of Portland, going from the farmer's market.
That's living
Nice.
right there, man. So
There you go.
I guess it's not necessarily free because there's like an entry
well, it says
fee.
relatively cheap, so
or
something
relatively cheap. I mean, even
Yeah.
even that, like, oh, actually, you know what? I was gonna say birding, but because that's sort of like walking outside, but it's like even more leisure than it does actually hurt your neck a little bit. But they've made some big advancements in glass quality, like producing glass for binoculars. So binoculars have decreased. Like you can get a good set of binoculars for relatively inexpensive, whereas you used to have to pay several $1,000s to get like premium binoculars.
You could
Anyway,
start birding for flightless birds and save your neck.
that's true. Flightless birds.
Like start
Flightless
looking
birds
for
are tricky.
chickens and ostriches and stuff.
That's true. But like putting up a bird feeder, especially during migration, you get to see all the birds that pass through, and I think it's quite exciting.
Jake, I was actually going to tell you, we were watching a nature show that Ryan Reynolds narrates,
Okay.
and it's all about like disgusting and kind of fucked up things, and it's very like
Okay.
Deadpool-esque, but it's still for kids. And they covered the cowbird. Do you know about the cowbird?
Yes.
So
Cowbirds are fucking awful.
those women are wild. So the cowbird, here's the cliff notes. The cowbird female goes and lays her eggs in other nests, so the other birds that are too dumb to notice the oversized egg will hatch it and raise this as their own. And they'll do it up to 50 times in a season. I was like, what?
And what's worse is that it's so much bigger than all the other babies, and the mom spends all of its time trying
Feeding
to
them.
feed just that one. So all the other birds die, and it's just the cowbird that gets fed. It's fucking nature is is awful. Like there's so many instances the cowbirds do that. I think there's a couple of other birds do that too. But it's weird. I was at my in-laws' house who have a bunch of bird feeders around, and it was during the spring, like early spring, when there was a bunch of fledglings out, so like young birds that were just like learning to fly and stuff, and there were birds underneath the bird feeder, just like sparrows, you know, like scratching and like eating stuff off the ground, and a crow comes down and is like also picking at stuff, and it looks over at one of these small, like the not quite adult sparrows, and just went and like gobbled one up. I was just like, what the fuck? And it's like, oh well, I'm done. It took off, and like none of the other birds even like registered it, and I was like, this is a fucked up scene. I don't know why everyone's so chill about this.
So do that. It's free.
Yeah, there you go, free.
Reduce stress. Just go look at puppies. You can't.
Yeah, puppies
Yeah.
are great.
Yeah, you could even like volunteer if you wanted, and you know, feel good about that, or yeah.
It wouldn't. This suggestion isn't free, but
Yeah, what's something that's relatively cheap that improves your life by 100%?
I mean, it's a little cliche, but like having a gym membership for me, it's like it started with the sauna, like going into the sauna, and yeah, you have to have a monthly membership, but how much money do you spend on other useless shit in your life? Use like the $40 a month to do that, but like just going in and getting in the sauna is that increased, and having access to a pool.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you,
Nice.
one would probably be put down your phone and every morning and just go out, sit outside, and just take long, deep breaths and just get that natural air in you. And just, if you want to meditate, just have nothing around you. Just try reduce your stress and mind and everything else as well. Last weekend was out. We have a rooftop pool here at where I'm at, and a
Okay.
hot
Nice.
tub, and I was out there just soaking up the sun.
Hell yeah.
So all you got to
When
do is
my-
get a rooftop pool and a hot tub, and
Yeah, go outside. I couldn't agree more. Whenever I forget my phone somewhere, or it run like best case scenario, like I forgot a charger and it runs out of battery, and I'm just like, my phone's dead. Like I never have better times than with my phone being dead, because like I already don't check it enough. Not that I don't check enough. It's like a twiddling thumb.
Like a
It's like the
crutch
modern
or
twiddling
like a,
thumbs. Like I just like, yeah, it's a crutch. Absolutely, it's a crutch. So like it comes out of my pocket and I just flip it on, and I don't even like have anything to do. So that oftentimes happens, and then I don't actually do anything worthwhile on there anyway. So when it's just like not even available, I love it. Although it is telling, because I realize when I don't have it or when it's off, how often I reach to my back pocket to collect it. And it not be there, and I realize like, oh wow, I do this way more than I even think I do. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. Get to what the kids are saying. Go touch grass. That's what
Raw
they're saying.
dog life.
Raw dog life. That's good.
hey, that's cheap too. Yeah, the top answer here is this person says a good chef knife. A good chef knife. You do not need a whole block set. One sharp 8-inch knife and a cutting board changes your entire kitchen experience. This person says a library card. I mean, that's a good suggestion.
Nerd alert.
Yeah, socialist.
I just got my sister Kelly, his fiance, to get a library card.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, because movies are free. You can rent movies.
Audiobook.
Yeah.
Audiobooks.
There you
That's a good point.
That's what she got it for. Like all the up-to-date audiobooks. And
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, you're already paying taxes for it. You may as well.
Stick it to them.
You know, I will say though that the comment about the chef's knife and a cutting board, I like, yeah, do that and find. I mean, Ryan, you know, I mean, you did this for work, so maybe it's not as cathartic. But like for me, if I'm making something that requires just like a bunch of chopped veggies, that's zen. I love that. My wife will be like, "Oh, I'm making this thing. Do you think you could chop, something?" I'm like, "Absolutely, recruit me to break down a bunch of onions." I love it. That's my
He gets the
my
slap
most
chop
fun.
out.
I would say in today's world, we overthink everything. If you have too many options, you overthink it. So having one chef's knife and a cutting board, he takes all the other options out of it. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I have to do it with this tool only. And you'd be surprised at what you can do with an 8-inch chef's knife. And
Yeah.
you build your skills up a lot faster by just using one instead of just cheating and using a paring knife or something else to go
Right.
to work. So I kind
I
of
know,
agree with that. I think you could.
That's a good point. Apply that to all facets of life.
I know we're running kind of long here, but speaking of knives, in the Navy, like, did they give you top of the line, like, kitchen equipment, knives and cutlery and all that, or was it just like, here's your one knife, or did you have access to all sorts of cool kitchen
Well,
stuff, or was it pretty basic?
we had some crappy knives, but we also had some really good German steel knives as well. And then once you get into like just like any job, you start bringing your own stuff too. So my first
Yeah.
6 months, I was using a crappy knife. But I tell you what, you do become sharpening these knives. Because
That was gonna be my next question.
no fun at a dull knife, especially when you're breaking down hundreds of onions. Not just
Right.
hundreds. And so sharpening was a mainstay of.
Ryan, I'm curious. Do they still issue? So my grandpa was a chef in the Korean War, and I actually have like the obligatory. That's my grandpa's chef's knife and all the things that he used to say. And I inherited his knives, which I hold with a lot of reverence. But one thing that I inherited also was his standard issue cookbook, which was, hey, you're making corned beef and hash. Start by peeling 400 pounds of potatoes. It's like, Jesus. Like, do
Yeah.
they still give you cookbook?
So was in we had cards, right? So when we were cooking in a recipe card, and it always based on 100 people. So you would have to break down the math. If we had 150 portions, you'd have to multiply it. If we only had 80 portions, we'd have to, do the whole conversion. And you better be pretty good at it because you have to do it fast to get the right order in. So yeah, you do have recipe books. I kind of wish I still had one of my one recipes I had. It was one of the best things when I was baking was hot rolls. We had a great recipe in the Navy for a hot roll, and I wish I had that card. I need to find that somehow. I need to try to call up a couple buddies, see if they have it by.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, Matt, we would talk about I've retold that story of looking at your grandpa's cookbook a lot because it is funny the proportions how often we see like serves 4 sort of proportions versus serves
Yeah.
hundreds.
Here's how to do a platoon. I was like, good God.
That's a cool book to have. Yeah, that's from
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take some pictures and send them to you. Or
You
send
should
them to Brandon
have
so you can go.
have you scaled them down at all? Like have you made any of them at like
haven't.
not that scale? Oh, you should.
I've
You
been
should.
so lazy that the thing is like they're not the most interesting of recipes, but they're
No, I'm sure they're not.
they're historic. Like it truly is corned beef and hash, but
Yeah.
I totally should.
Well, yeah, they're all like 50s recipes, like Jello mold for 100, or like deviled ham for 100, stuff like that.
Exactly.
it would be interesting to see what the main dishes were like in comparison to today, right? I guess it's like it'd probably be like you said. It would be some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Well, after we log off here, I'm actually gonna go dig it out because I am.
There's a guy on YouTube that does old
I know what you're talking about.
recipes, like dessert recipes, and he's like super flamboyant and does silly like
Well, I got
silly
Krisha
like
his
bakes.
cookbook.
Yeah.
I think if it's the same guy, he has a cookbook called Baking Yesteryear, and it goes from like
Yeah,
the
that sounds about right.
through like the 80s or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, I've only seen his shorts, and he's like, basically, it's like, here's a really strange sounding recipe, let's make it.
Like
and then he
how to
does
make a
like
Civil War biscuit and stuff. Like
right,
that.
yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah,
That's how Julia Child got famous, though, right? And she cooked everything out of an older cookbook. This is like in the 60s or 70s.
yeah. Okay, yeah,
I guess that's true.
that sounds about right.
Is it really only that far? Gosh, she just seems like such an old person. Like even when she was young, she seems so old.
I think she was in World War II. I think, yeah, she did something in World War II. Anyway.
I will trust you, Brandon. You're like a master at history, so I will trust you. You're like,
Yeah,
take this.
I went last night and came in third, so I don't know.
yeah.
How
So
much
Ryan,
you
we're
should be
actually
trusting
looking to
me?
replace him on the podcast because he got third. So you're in the right. This is actually an interview.
You also haven't heard
job.
the story about how we did trivia in New Orleans, and between Stuart, my brother-in-law, and Brandon are like equally as good as each other. And the trivia was so hard we didn't even place between two rock stars. That's what you won't hear Brandon admit. I have no shame.
Dang.
I contributed literally nothing to the team.
I'm sure you contributed a lot.
I was buying
Julia Child
Underbergs
was
for
in
everybody.
Julia Child was in the OSS during World War II.
What?
She was in the SF.
Yeah. OSS.
No, not the
SS.
OSS.
She helped develop shark repellent. I'll have to read this later rather than when we're recording.
What the hell is shark
Kind of
repellent?
interesting.
Oh, now I'm just curious.
Anyway,
Yeah.
no, we probably should wrap up. We're
Wrap
going
it up.
longer than
This,
usual.
every guest we have, it's a historically long episode. You are now the longest we've ever had.
Yeah,
Ryan.
Ryan, it's your fault. You just need to be less interesting next time.
I'm
Say,
so worried that wasn't gonna be interesting enough. I guess it worked.
I
Well,
guess-
you start. I mean, we just kind of scratched the surface of your life. We basically kind of just talked about like the beginning and like your most recent stuff. So we didn't really like cover anything in the middle, but I think there's enough like with the Navy that we could probably do another episode on just that.
yeah.
We'll have you
Yes,
back on
we'll-
after you've lived your 80-year-old bender.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully we'll have him on before that.
my open.
Shit.
There
Yeah,
you
you'll
go.
have to. You could preview some of your jokes on here.
I hope you ride on stage with your BMX and be like, "What's up, everybody?"
Oh, that's a good one.
Ow.
Don't tempt me. That would be rad. Have a
I
couple.
mean, there
What's
is
up,
a lot
fellow
of material. yeah, you could get out of like midlife crisis stuff and getting a BMX bike and all that.
Yeah, I've already been working on material for like Scorpios. I got Scorpio jokes. I got
Nice.
uh, you know midlife crisis jokes. Raising.
Nice. That's awesome.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll definitely have to have you back here, but thank you for your time and for joining us. I know it's
Yeah.
probably a late night for you. Hopefully you don't have to work early tomorrow. Yeah, we better get you out of here. Before you go, is there anything you want to plug or advertise or advocate for or anything?
Really, just live.
My man.
You can plug the men's clinic if you want.
Oh, uh, sure. Portland Revive Men's Clinic was it's been a lifesaver for me. So that's really good. And don't be afraid of public transportation. Ride. It's here.
Well, there we go. That's one of the cheap things that improves life. There we go.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening, and thank you to Ryan for joining us, and thank you to our loyal patrons for supporting the show. If you haven't already, head over to Patreon at patreon.com/qualifiednonsense to show your support and catch some exclusive content, including our new show, Qualified Nonsense After Dark. Watch us over on YouTube at youtube.com/@qualifiednonsense. Also, feel free to send any questions or comments to qualifiednonsense@gmail.com or hit us up on our socials or on our Discord found in the episode description. After you've done all that, please also rate, review, share, like, and subscribe on your podcast app of choice. We'll see you back here next week for another brand new episode of Qualified Nonsense.
Bye, y'all. Thanks, Ryan.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.